How's everybody out there doing? Thanks for joining me for my first installment of Hoggie's Quick Beer Reviews for the new year. This is my first review of 2010 and actually my first craft beer of the year. So, show you today's beer. Today's beer is Old Thumper. Old Thumper is an extra special ale. It's actually categorized as an ESB, which is an extra special bitter. It's English style. This is brewed by the Shipyard Brewing Company in Maine. Although, if you notice here on the label, I'll show that to you again, it says Ringwood Brewery. The Ringwood Brewery is in England, and they have a deal with Shipyard to brew their beers over here. Matter of fact, let me just read the back of the bottle here, give you a better idea of what this is. It says, Old Thumper. Since King Henry VII would travel there to hunt for wild boar, Hampshire in England has been renowned for its strong and wholesome ales. One of the finest examples of this style is Old Thumper from the Ringwood Brewery, a small family firm who have led a revival of traditional brewing techniques. Old Thumper has been hailed for its distinctive flavor and has won the coveted prize of Champion Beer of Britain. It has hints of sweetness with apple and fruit aromas, a deceptively smooth texture, as well as a long, dry, hoppy finish. Old Thumper is now available in the United States under a unique arrangement between England's Ringwood Brewery and the Shipyard Brewing Company of Portland, Maine. The original recipe is being brewed here under the watchful eye of Alan Pugsley, who trained and worked at Ringwood Brewery for many years and is now an award-winning brewer. Because freshness without use of preservatives is essential to the taste and integrity of this fine ale, they ship the famed Ringwood yeast and the finest ingredients directly from England to recreate in Maine the unique flavors of Old Thumper. So that's what that is. And I gotta show you this. I'm keeping this one. This is really cool. See if you can make out the cap there. Old Thumper's on the cap, little wild boar there. It looks really cool. So yeah. Now I've had this beer before on several occasions. This was one of the beers I really got to like early on in my craft beer drinking experiences. I ended up with a couple of bottles of this from a Shipyard variety pack. I liked it, and a little farther down the road I picked up a 6-pack of it, and I reviewed it on my website. That review's been up on beerbrecht.com. Check that out when you get a chance. But you know, I like this beer, man. You know, but then again, I haven't had it in quite some time. Maybe my palate's changed. I don't know. So this is kind of a re-review and just sharing it with you guys because I think Old Thumper's some good stuff. Now, just to punch it up real quick on Beer Advocate for you, Old Thumper categorized as an extra special or extra strong bitter. It's 5.9 ABV, and it gets a B overall, and that's out of 304 reviews. The bros on Beer Advocate give it a B. So, well-regarded brew. Now, I'm breaking out my Titanic glass for a couple reasons. One, I'll be going there later tonight for a couple beers with a buddy of mine. And two, because Titanic also brews an ESB, if I remember correctly. So I figured, what the hell. And in case anybody's wondering, you know, why I've been using this glass so much lately, I really like it. I really do. Especially since I'm going to be moving out of Miami soon, so it's going to be cool to have a glass from the local brew pub. But anyways, since I want to save the cap, I'm breaking out the lighter. Best way to get a cap off without damaging it. And boom. Now that was loud. Don't know why. And this beer was smoky, so that's a good thing. And I'm telling you, you can't beat that, guys. That cap is unscathed. So that's going in the collection later. It's going to go on my fridge when I move. Anyways, let's pour this guy out. Now, bitters really aren't that bitter, because there's your bitter and then there's your extra strong bitter, extra special bitter. They're not that bitter though, especially if you're a hophead. But they are well-balanced beers, nice and malty with some good bitterness at the end. It's hoppy bitterness, but remember, these are European hops. They're not as strong and as acidic and have as much hop oil, you know, alpha oils or whatever, as American hop, you know, Pacific Northwestern hops. So, take a look at that. Let me turn the logo around a little there. Take a look at that. This is a beautiful copper color. I call it, yeah, it's a copper color. And nice off-white head Only a few bubbles in there, very soapy, very foamy, very nice. It's a nice looking beer, it really is. And, you know, for those who are getting into craft beer, who know craft beer a little, the Ringwood yeast. Now, I don't know if the Ringwood Brewery was named after the yeast or if the yeast is their proprietary yeast, but whatever. The Ringwood yeast adds an interesting flavor to the beer. It has its own distinct flavor that comes out. But yeah, this smells good, man. It smells malty, a little bit bready. Hint of caramel in that malt smell. But yeah, man, that's good stuff. That is good stuff. It smells sweet. With a little bit of a crispness underneath, which would be your bitterness and your hops. But yeah, that's good. Very light fruit flavors. Can't put my finger on it, but almost like a sweet fruit as well to go with the malt and the hint of caramel you get in there. But yeah, that's very nice. Very nice indeed. So, let's drink it. Has a very rich, very luscious, medium mouthfeel. And the carbonation is just about right. Because you get a little bit of that prickle as you first sip, but then it kind of smooths away into that smooth, rich body of the beer. And it is sticking to the side of the glass there. Nice little bit of lace is being left. But you get a bitterness up front. You get some hops. You get a bit of breadiness and biscuit. And then you get the malt. It's very well balanced. You know, these beers are called bitters, but the truth is that what makes a good bitter is balance. Not too sweet, not too bitter. It's just, you know, well balanced, evenly distributed flavors. And this has it, man. There's nothing to stand out. You get a little bit of sweetness, breadiness, maltiness, and then it ends with the bitterness, but nowhere near your IPA hop bitter. It has a little bit of bitterness, obviously, piney notes, earthy notes, but very mild. And there really is no aftertaste. There's no hop resin. There's no oil on the tongue. You know, none of that stuff. But it's just good, man. You also get those slight sweet fruit notes. They're very mild, but they mix in there. The maltiness, the breadiness, the fruitiness, it's all kind of rolled together with a hint of bitterness up front and a hint of bitterness behind it. It's a very good mix. Now, this isn't the style of beer that I like to drink all the time. I prefer a stronger, hoppier beer, an American Pale, an IPA, but these are a nice change of pace. If you want something a little darker, and yet you don't want to go all the way towards a brown or a stout, something that's toasted, roasted. This is just a slightly darker, more bitter ale. Obviously an English ale. But yeah, man, I like it. Old Thumper, if you like bitters, if you like the fullers, if you just like that style, I say check this out. This is not your typical Shipyard beer. This really is something different. And those fruity notes, I'm telling you, I can't tell you if it's the beer itself or if that comes from the yeast. The yeast, it's like nothing you've tried before, but it's hard to pinpoint. Anybody out there who's tried beers brewed with Ringwood yeast, let me know what you think. Let me know what your take on it was. I like it. It's different, but it's kind of hard to pinpoint. The yeast is always a tricky thing to figure out the flavors on, you know? Because the yeast can play with the beer so much depending on the style and depending on how it's used. But regardless, this is a tasty beer. I consider this a very, very strong glass, half full, pushing 3/4. It's just solid. It's solid for the style. I would go higher, but I'm not that familiar with the style. I haven't tried that many bitters. Out of the ones I have tried, this is one of the better ones. But I'll have to leave it at that. But guys, Shipyard's Old Thumper, or Ringwood Brewery's Old Thumper. If you like something bitter with a little bit of body and a little bit of heft to it, check this out. This is a good brew. Thanks for watching, guys, and Happy New Year. Cheers.